Oh, that's an easy one. Beat her off the head. Burying something is so much harder than not burying something. Plus, if you bury the beater, you get more punch, and we just don't need that in our lives today. Unless, of course, you feel more comfortable burying the beater. Then do that instead. But really, if you can't decide, just go with something in between. Definitely, without a doubt, a smaller kit. In music, less is more. But if you have extra drums and cymbals laying around, you gotta get those on your kit. Just be sure whatever is on your kit, you hit at least once in every song. Unless, of course, it does not fit musically, then you don't do that. But if you really want to, then you just have to hit everything on your drums 3 times in every song, regardless of the music or the context. Pearl, for sure, without a doubt. I mean, you really couldn't do anything else. Unless, of course, you walked into a store and you liked the color of a different drum. Then you should get that. But if it's red, you really have to get pearl because that's the best sounding color. Zildjian, Zildjian. They have ones with a bunch of little holes and ones with no holes. I mean, the choices are almost endless. There really is no competition. Everyone who's anyone plays Zildjian. Unless, of course, they don't, and they might still be a great drummer. As a drummer and timekeeper, you really have to practice with a metronome. Unless, of course, you're one of those people who would like freedom in music, then you wouldn't want to practice with a metronome, unless, of course, you're working on rudiments. But if you want to get good at rushing and dragging, don't use a metronome, unless you ignore it while it's on. Now that's always a good thing to practice. Hands down, you need to have a degree, especially in today's music industry. I mean, you can't survive without it. Unless, of course, you're going to be in a band, teach privately, do recordings, touring, or session. Then you probably don't need one. Kids today have to be using matched grip. You just have more options to express yourself. German grip, French grip, American grip. You only live once, so you absolutely need those expressive options. Unless, of course, it doesn't feel right. Then do something else. For sure, that's an absolute must. Unless, of course, you like learning by ear, then you should do that instead. Just be sure to look around while you're practicing, or maybe even read a book while practicing. You just can't say you've studied unless it was a one-on-one lesson. Unless, of course, the group lesson offered a certificate. Then you have to do that instead, because the paper makes you play better. In the end, it's really who's teaching that is most important. Unless, of course, you plan on practicing. Then it doesn't matter what you do, sometimes. Heel up. It's the best choice. It unlocks the full potential of your leg. Unless you play jazz or lighter styles, then you have to play heel down. Or if you play in slippers or barefoot, then you also have to play heel down. But if it's uncomfortable to play heel down, then you have to play heel up, or maybe heel toe. Your legs should be parallel to the floor. This is really the best position from the standpoint of going from left to right. Unless, of course, sitting higher seems like the right choice for you. And of course, when it's cold, you should sit higher because warm air rises. Wow, another easy one. For sure, double pedal, because most of us don't have the space for a huge drum set. Unless, of course, you have the space, then you have to get a double bass drum. Now, in the end, it's whatever you like and whatever is most comfortable for you. Unless, of course, your wife tells you not to buy that extra bass drum, then you really have no choice at all.